Ha ha. And I thought my reviews were bad. What's up, guys? By PattyTrills, aka Young Johnny Bravo. Welcome to Pre, aka known as Patty Reviews Everything. Just reviewing the new Joker movie, the one that just came out a couple days ago. And I introed with that really bad Heath Ledger impression of the Joker. So I'm gonna say right off the get-go, I'm gonna explain. If you guys don't know what this is, it's a movie review. So I'm gonna explain the things that I liked, some things that I didn't like, even though I liked pretty much. This is a really good movie. I'm just gonna start off with that. But there are some things that I won't get into, because obviously for spoilers, because this is gonna be a spoiler-free review. So if you guys are excited, show your support, smash the like button. Support's really appreciated. If you check out the link in the description down below, and so on. So anyways, let's get into the things that I liked. First thing, Joaquin Phoenix. This dude absolutely carried the entire film. I mean, there's not a single scene in this movie that he's not in it. Like, this dude is like on screen 100% of the time, so a lot of the weight is on him, because this movie is about him and how he kind of becomes the Joker, and like the amount of pressure that is to have when it's such like a beloved, like the most iconic comic book villain of all time, to be able to do that and do it well and effective in his own way was great. And that alone is that made the movie 10 times better, because I came in this movie with like somewhat mid expectations, because I was kind of worried, because I'm a huge Joker fan. Like, I love Joker, I love his character, I love his dynamics, I love his just like everything about him, you know, design, all that stuff. Like, I have Joker posters everywhere and some Joker memorabilia in the background, and he's just great. He's just a great character, and to see Joaquin really carry it in a different, well, not too different, but carry it in its own way of showing like his insanity really like deepen, was a really good way. It was just a fun experience. I am gonna give people a fair warning: is this movie isn't that fast paced, and the pacing isn't slow either, if that makes sense. So the movie, not a lot really happens. Like, there's not a lot of eye candy. So if you're going into this thinking there's gonna be some like crazy action scenes and like super insane things going on, there are moments of that in the movie, but it's not like a regular comic book film. So this is a very slow burn, very like origin, very character develop heavy, like coming of story going on about how this man was pretty much broken down and like shat on until he flipped and became the Joker, you know. The pacing in this movie isn't that long, actually. It's maybe 2 hours, if that. It might be like an hour 50, hour 55, but like every scene is important. There are like no scenes that are wasted. There's no dialogue that felt wasted. Like, everything had its purpose, and the direction that this movie took was it just felt so calculated, and I really appreciated it, because I hate when movies or TV shows just do something to waste time, or like they make things too long, or they do like a lot of the same tendencies. I just don't like that. And the fact that this movie like really wanted to do its own thing and kind of make its own material and its own lore, that all made sense, and it was still all within like the comic books. Like, it wasn't like a far reach or anything like that. It just complements everything that goes on in this film. And I've like I said, I walked in a little skeptical, because like Jared Leto's Joker was meh. We didn't see enough of him for me to really like depict like an opinion of the guy. But Heath Ledger's Joker is obviously my favorite interpretation of on the screen. And then you have Jack Nicholson, then you have Mark Hamill. Like, you have all these great, phenomenal actors that have like taken this like character in their own way, and I think Joaquin Phoenix, like, he fucking nailed it. Like, he nailed it. There are some really good scenes in this film, visually, and also just like tension wise. Like, you could feel the tension in some of these scenes like really kind of build up. Like, towards the end, like, my stomach was getting kind of tight on me. Like, I was like, oh, like, I think I know what's gonna happen. But even though I think I know what's gonna happen, like the suspense of it building up was like, it was crazy. Like, they do this like plot twist, not a plot twist, but they kind of throw this catalyst in the film that like in my opinion, made everything about Joker and Batman way cooler, because Batman's not in this film at all. But like, there's like this catalyst that happened that just like strengthens their dynamic of why they're so like iconic together. And it wasn't even like they tried to force it down your mouth. They just like threw this plot and it works, and you're just like, oh, like you're just like that. It all makes sense. Like, not even just this film, but just like everything about Batman and Joker. You're like, it makes fucking sense. Like, I get it. And it was just such a cool like thing that they did to like, I'm like a loss of words because there's just so much things to talk about that I love about this film. It was just so good. I'm just glad they went with this route and didn't go with like this super crazy like fast-paced origin story, or make the origin too short and then like have him be doing like, because like he's not Joker the entire movie. He becomes a Joker like towards the end. Like it's a progression story of this guy who's broken and then finds his way and becomes what we know him like towards the end. It was seeing like a character change like over time, and it just made so much sense. Like, it wasn't like Star Wars Episode 3 where Anakin's like, I'm a good guy, and then he's like, I'll do anything you want, Palpatine, in like 10 minutes. Like, it wasn't like that. It was kind of like a Walter White turning into like Heisenberg transition. Like, he was always kind of there, but then you saw it flip. Like, it was mostly Walter and a little bit of Heisenberg. Then eventually you saw it go like mostly Heisenberg and a little bit of Walter. It was kind of like you had Arthur and a little bit of Joker, and then it switches over to Joker and a little bit of Arthur in this whole transition, and it's very smooth and it makes sense, and like it's just good, you know. It's just a good film. Things I am gonna say that I wasn't, not that I didn't like, but I felt like they could have done better, because no movie is 100% perfect. Even movies that I love dearly, I can still critique in minor ways where I feel like they would improve it or not. Some of the like minor catalysts that cause Arthur to kind of push over to the edge were a little cliche. Like, you saw it in the trailer where the kids stole the sign, they running off, they hit him, and he gets kind of beat up, and it's like, that's kind of cliche. You know, like, you've seen that how many times in movies? Like, all right, you know. There wasn't any real memorable like, how do I explain this? All the secondary characters kind of don't really shine because this is really like about Joker. So that means every other character doesn't, like, they're not in the movie much, so therefore they're not like entirely important. The only one that I really liked was Robert De Niro playing like the night show host, because he really kind of brought that vibe, and I love Robert De Niro. Like, who doesn't? Just seeing Robert De Niro kind of play like this like weird Jay Leno or like Jimmy Fallon, kind of like hitting pointing to the band when they hit the notes, like the ba ba ba, you know, and then like making jokes to the crowd about like things, like, you know, like you hear, like, you know, like every night show does like a minute or two of their own like stand up, and then like they show like a video skit, have a guest come on. Like, seeing Robert De Niro do that was nice, and it was a nice, you know, that was like the only real secondary character that stood out. Everyone else kind of had a couple scenes here and there, and they're just kind of, none of them were bad. Like, none of the actors or actresses that played in the movie were bad. It's just, this was literally all Joker, and so all the other characters kind of took a backseat. And I feel like it would have been cooler to kind of maybe see a little bit more of the other secondary characters, and kind of like see the world be more like Gotham be more flushed out, because you don't really see much of Gotham either. You kind of just see like what's on the news, and then obviously what happens later. You don't really get to see like the real vibes of Gotham, kind of like how I thought like the Dark Knight Rises did, because like, I don't know, I just felt like they should have showed like what do you call it? They should have showed the lifestyle in Gotham in this movie. But maybe I don't know if they're doing any other movies off of this, because they really could branch off of this Joker movie and make like a really solid like DC universe, you know? Yeah, minus like the characters kind of taking a backseat, and then maybe the movie's not long enough because I would like to see more. It's a very solid film. Like, there's really not much that I couldn't really complain about. It's just it's well directed, well acted. I think Joaquin Phoenix should be nominated for an Oscar. I really do. That guy, the way he looked, the way he acted and changed, it was just such a good film. Like, because like Joaquin has a really like solid resume, and he doesn't take on roles unless there's like something there. And so when I heard he was taking on the Joker, I was like, okay, there's got to be something here for him to benefit him. And now that I've seen it, I'm like, oh yeah, you fucking nailed it, dude. So hopefully something comes out of it. But I don't want to give it like an overall grade because I feel like I haven't had time to sit down and rewatch it or let time sink in, because like time really does like defer movies. Like, for example, I thought Amazing Spider-Man 2 when I first saw it when I was in high school was like an 8 out of 10 film because it was new and, you know, whatever. And now I look at it again and it's like a 5.5. You know, I don't think this movie is like that. I think this movie is very mature. I think this movie is dark, but not unnecessarily dark like how they were trying to in the DC universe. It was just the right amount because it's about the Joker, so it has to be a little bit dark. You know, it's the king of crime, pretty much. It's just a good film. If you guys haven't seen it, go see it, please. And I'm definitely buying this movie on Blu-ray. Like, that's facts. Like, that's facts. Like, this is probably my up there with one of my favorite movies of the year. Honestly, it's a phenomenal film, all for the right reasons. Like, from a very mature standpoint. I don't know if like people who are like, I don't know if this movie is for everyone though. Like, the people who are into like, let's say, the Fast and Furious and like Ant-Man and stuff like that, I don't know if they'll be into this kind of film because this movie is more, it's more strategic, mature, and I don't want to say I'm gatekeeping, and everything's very calculated in this film on why they did what they did. And, you know, you have to like really pay attention to the things. Like, I feel like if I watch this movie again, I'm going to pick up on a lot of things that I missed the first time because I was just trying to retain so much information, you know? But yeah, this movie's great. I recommend it. Amazing film. Go watch it, please. So, if you guys did enjoy this review, show your support, smash the like button. So, I really appreciate it. Definitely check out links in the description down below to merchandise if you're into that. And with that being said, I'm going to get the fuck out of you guys. I'm always PattyTrills. I'm out. Yoga.